Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 2. I have to tell you, it was so wonderful that many of you got off to an early start with our week 1 discussion, and it gave us lots of time to have a really rich, deep discussion and get to know one another a little bit better. So I just wanted to let you know how appreciative I am of that. And also the personal nature and depth which you shared, your personal experiences. I think one of you had said that one of the things that's most important to you is this be a safe space for us to have these conversations. And I really think that it will be, and it is, that we can share different views on what we are learning, and this should be a safe space for us to share those kind of ideas. So for week 2, I'm going to ask that you read chapters 7 through 15 of Fish. I have to tell you, this is my first time teaching this course, and I had not read this book before being assigned this course or being asked to teach this course. And I couldn't put it down because I thought the story was just, I don't know, Allie's story really touched me. Something that I found really interesting as I was reading it, any of you that live in the local Western Mass or Connecticut area, the author is from West Hartford, Connecticut. And in the book, she mentions some landmarks that are actually in West Hartford. I just thought that was sort of neat, and I hope someday I run into Linda Mullally Hunt and I can tell her how much I've enjoyed her book, and getting to sort of hear the perspective of a school-aged student and their experience with a learning disability. So in addition to those chapters, you also have some videos and sections of media to listen to. And you're going to have to remember, you're going to need to copy and paste the exact text in with the materials into your search engine, preferably Google, because we know that we've tested that out with Google. And also from the list of resources, there are different resources here where you can select which ones you want to watch. So there's a very broad range, and hopefully they will spark your interest. This week, we're going to be talking about culturally responsive pedagogical strategies. That's going to be our discussion. And we're then going to apply some of the theories that we've learned about. So in our discussion, you're going to identify and describe 3 to 5 multicultural education or culturally responsive strategies, and how you would implement them into your classroom or your work environment to support students or adults that you work with from both cultural and linguistically diverse backgrounds. So feel free to write or record like I'm doing right now. Screencast-O-Matic is very easy to use. If you need some help with it, give me a little poke and I will certainly help you with that. And then our assignment this week is a self-reflection. So what of the multiple intelligences are your strongest? What intelligences do you think are on the relatively weaker side, and how could you strengthen them? And how do you see these strengths and weaknesses reflected in your personal learning, and describing your learning style? And then for the new learning, what did you learn about the brain and stress that surprised you? Did you make any connections between neuroscience and research about how stress impacts the brain and your personal learning? And why social emotional learning is so important to consider in the classroom. I'm going to ask you really to think about that one, especially in light of what our students have experienced over the past year and a half. So I think that focus on social and emotional learning, or you might see it referred to as SEL, is of even more importance given our current circumstance. And then lastly, how does Mr. Daniels work to meet the varying intelligences and learning styles of Allie, Keisha, and Albert in the book Fish in a Tree? And what other connections did you make with the research to Fish in a Tree? And also strategies that you can think about that may have an impact on Allie, Keisha, and Albert. So again, you can choose to write a paper, or you can choose to do a presentation. Make sure that you use APA format for both your post, including in-text citations and references. Make sure that for every reference you use, you have at least one in-text citation so we know how you use that resource. or feel free to do a Prezi or a PowerPoint or any kind of recording. Just make sure that if it's a videotape, that you include in writing your references. If it's a Prezi or a PowerPoint, you can do your references on the last slide of the presentation. As always, if you have any questions or any issues, please feel free to reach out to me. I've heard from quite a few of you over the past couple of weeks, and it's never a problem. I will typically get back to you within an hour or two, at most by the next day, within 24 hours. And I look forward to reading all of your papers. Oh, one thing before I forget, some of you who turned your assignments in early may have noticed that I do tend to, if I get an assignment in early, I tend to grade it early. I think that that's helpful for you because you get the feedback right away. And I also try to grade papers that are turned in on time as soon as possible after you've turned them in, because I don't want you to go on and do your next assignment without getting the feedback on the previous assignment. So all of you will see when it's a written paper, I will always give you my specific feedback in track changes, and it's attached right in the gradebook. So please make sure you open up the attachment that I send back to you. I usually mention it. My comments are attached in track changes for your review. And if you have any questions about my comments, again, reach out to me and I'd be happy to have a conversation. So have a wonderful week 2. Enjoy the glorious weather we've been having, and I'll be talking to you during the week. Take care. Bye-bye.